The mood lighting has hit. Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining for our first Denver Hug event of the new year. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
Great, perfect. Thanks for joining. If you haven't yet, get food, get drinks, stickers, keychains, all of that stuff. Excited to have you all here. Excited for a great presentation. If you don't know me, I'm Dustin. I'm the founder and CEO of Hive Strategy. We're a Diamond HubSpot Solutions partner. We've been in the HubSpot ecosystem for coming up on 12 years. Really focused on custom API development, custom HubSpot builds, website design and development, marketing campaigns, those kind of things. So we'd love to connect with you if we haven't connected already. And I'm actually going to bring Alex up. He was just here. There he is. Alex is with Cinch. He is our sponsor for tonight. He's responsible for drinks and food and all of those things. We like Alex.
Thanks, Alex.
Oh, I get to talk too. I'm Alex, I'm with Cinch, and a few years ago, I had to plan my high school reunion. And so I had this long list of everyone and their phone numbers, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna send everybody a text and send them to this landing page so they can register for the reunion. And then I was like, they don't know who the heck I am. They're just gonna get this random number from a guy saying, hey, it's Alex, remember me from high school? So instead, I took like way too much time and I recorded a personal video for every single person, and I was like, hey, it's Alex, I remember this about you. I hope you can come to the reunion. Most companies are sending a blast text from a random number that nobody knows, and they expect them to trust it and click on the link and go register for the reunion, and they're not gonna do it. That's what Cinch does. We use RCS. We help you create the video, the trust. We verify your sender so that the people getting your messages know who they are from. And it works with Breeze and the help desk. So I'm Alex with Cinch. Come talk to me if you'd like to.
Thanks, Alex. All right, so we're gonna get into the presentation now. There will be time for Q&A, so jot those down. At the end, I guess we can't really send the mic around, but we'll have Q&A. So I'm excited to introduce Melissa and Kathryn. They are CSMs with HubSpot. They're focused on Breeze. They're focused on all the AI tools that HubSpot has been rolling out. And we're also going to talk about HubSpot credits, which I know feels like a black hole that nobody really understands. So the good news is they do. So welcome, Melissa and Kathryn.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Dustin and Alex, for hosting us. We're excited to be here. So yeah, we're going to get started talking about Breeze credits, customer agent, all of the above. Just a couple questions before we get started. Who here knows that they have credits in their HubSpot platform and actually currently uses them? Got one brave soul, maybe over here. All right, that's exactly what we expected. So you all are in the perfect spot. I think I know the answer to this next question. Does anybody currently use our customer agent? Oh yeah, oh. That's a plant in the back. Perfect, okay. Love it, couldn't ask for a better audience in that case. So we'll get started. You know HubSpot, we love a good agenda. So kind of gone through introductions. We'll talk through some of our AI philosophy. We'll get into HubSpot credits, customer agent, and then have some time for questions at the end. Does that sound good? We shared some introductions, but Melissa Dentch, Senior Customer Success Manager here at HubSpot.
Hello, I'm Kathryn. I'm a lead CSM at HubSpot.
Very good. All right, so getting into a little bit of HubSpot's AI philosophy. I always like to start with this when I start talking about credits, because I think it's important to set the context and the stage for how HubSpot thinks about AI. AI innovation right now is the slowest that it will ever be. The first time I saw this slide, I was like, no, you're kidding. I don't know that I can take that any faster. But it's really true. But with that also comes something that we say at HubSpot a lot. The AI expert sitting next to you is only 2 weeks ahead of you. So you're not that far behind if you're not sort of deep into these AI tools. We've also seen that AI leaders are rewriting the rules of business. And alongside that, customers are looking for less generic outreach, less generic information. They expect you to have the context for who they are, why you're reaching out, and to the point we just heard earlier, why they should care about that. And AI can really be transformative in helping you do that. HubSpot has built an AI maturity model to help you understand sort of where you are along the curve, where you might want to get to, and what tools might be the most relevant for you at your current spot. So it starts with somebody who's AI curious, maybe thinking about, how could I use this? Could AI help me draft some emails, help me edit some emails? Moving forward to getting started, an AI companion that works with you, perhaps some of our Breeze Assistant, some of our other embedded features. And then from there, you move on to building momentum, really thinking about AI as a teammate that can help transform the way that you do work and the way that you scale your work. And then finally going towards somebody who is leading the way, really sort of setting the trail and being that front runner and front expert for these AI tools. I would say for myself personally, I'm somewhere between the getting started and building momentum with AI, kind of leaning more and more towards building momentum every day. So just something you can think about for yourself personally, as well as your company, and sort of where you are along your AI journey. One thing I also always like to share is a little bit about, again, how we think about AI here at HubSpot. We don't necessarily think that, we certainly don't think that AI is going to replace human work entirely. It's certainly going to transform the way that we work, transform the jobs that we do, but we don't see AI replacing humans at any point. We really think the unlock is when humans bring some of the authenticity, the connection, the relationship building they bring, and use AI to help enhance that and help scale that. So that's really where we talk about these hybrid teams, AI teammates, not just thinking about how can we use AI to replace humans, but how can we use it to make our jobs better. So transitioning into sort of what that means for you all using the platform every day. We have hundreds. That slide is probably out of date even from a couple months ago with 100+ AI tools. Hundreds of features that are included both sort of as the basic foundation of your platform, as well as in things like marketing, sales, and service. So we'll talk about that. Thank you. I think about HubSpot's AI tools in sort of 3 different categories. There's a category around maintenance, things like automatic enrichment, data cleanup, workflow support. These tools sometimes consume HubSpot credits. We have assistant support. This is largely through our Breeze Assistant, that sort of star icon you see in the top of your portal every day that you may or may not utilize. You can use that for meeting prep, account summaries, report creation, email drafting. Those typically do not consume credits. We also have more and more agentic work, and we really see agentic work as the future of CRMs and the future of the work that we are doing here at HubSpot. Things that can handle customer inquiries, again, draft more personalized outreach, and do some deep research. Those tools typically consume credits, but not always. We got to keep it interesting here at HubSpot. I'm not going to go through these slides in a lot of depth or a lot of detail, but these are just some popular marketing features that can leverage some of our AI tools, building audience segmentation, personalization at scale, Breeze Assistant. One of my favorites, just as a sidebar, is that AEO grader. For those who don't know, I'm sure you all are aware of SEO, search engine optimization. AEO is really the next generation of that. Answer engine optimization. How are you showing up on searches like ChatGPT, like Gemini? We have a whole tool that's free, publicly available, where you can see how your brand is showing up in some of these AI tools and get really tactical ways that you can improve there. Similarly, we have some similar popular features for sales teams, deal summaries, deal intelligence, email generators. So just some examples here for how sales teams might use that, and similarly for service teams. So again, not anything we'll go through in detail, but just some good ideas. So now to the meat of credits. Almost every single HubSpot customer has some amount of credits within their portal at no additional charge. The only caveat to that, there are a small group of customers who have been with us for years and years, some very legacy customers who do not currently have credits, but the vast majority do. If you are a starter, you have 500 a month, professional gets 300, 3,000, excuse me, and enterprise 5,000. This goes based off of your highest tier subscription, and they're not cumulative. So it would just be like if you have Sales Hub Pro and Marketing Hub Enterprise, you would have 5,000 credits. These credits are at no charge every single month in your portal. So you should certainly be using them because you are not paying anything extra for them, so you might as well. They do refresh every month, but they don't roll over. So they usually lose it, but on your monthly billing cycle, they'll refresh. We'll talk about how to find your HubSpot credits in a second. If you are one of those small number of customers that do not have credits, you can contact your CSM or support to understand why, and they can sort of walk you through the rationale, the reasoning, and what you might need to do to get some credits. And I talked a little bit about our Breeze agents, our agents that consume credits. These are some of the most popular ones, I would say. Some popular automation tools and agents that work for you, and an example of sort of how many credits they might use. For example, our customer agent, which we'll talk about pretty soon, leverages 100 credits per conversation. If you're looking over here, some AI workflow actions and intent signals, those are 10 credits per action. So you can see there's always, an explanation of how many credits are used and where they're used, but that's how you can sort of understand some of the different tools that we have that leverage these credits. I mentioned there's a lot of different ways that you can manage your credits. If you go into your portal and look at the account and billing section, that's where you would find your credits. If you're familiar with using marketing contacts, it's just a tab right above the marketing contacts section. You can see here, it shows your monthly usage, the date range of when it populates, how many you have to use. If you ever need to add more credits, you can always do that right here. One thing that people love hearing, especially folks who are familiar with our marketing contact structure, HubSpot credits do not automatically go over. So if you have something set up that's using credits, if you reach that 3,000 or 5,000 limit, those credit usages just pause until the next month. You can add additional credits, and once you do that, you can also unlock the ability to have a little bit more granular control over how you leverage your credits and how that's used. Okay, I think we said questions at the end, but if anybody has any pressing questions about credits, happy to answer those before we transition to customer agent a little bit.
When did the credits start? Get into our account?
That's a very good question. It's a little bit different depending on, how long you've been with HubSpot. If you started with HubSpot within the last year and a half, 2 years, you would have had credits from the start of your time with us. If you had been with us longer and transitioned from our traditional models to the seats model where you have core seats, at the time you migrated to receive your core seats, you also started receiving credits. Good question.
Are all the AI tools fueled by credits? Is that the only way to use them?
That's a great question, and the answer is it depends, because it always depends. So some of our AI tools leverage credits. A lot of the agents leverage credits, and when you're setting up an agent, there will be an outline of how many credits are used per action. The Breeze Assistant, for example, which is your chief of staff, your co-pilot that you can use every day for meeting prep, email drafting, things like that, that does not use credits. So some of our AI tools do use credits and some don't, but it's pretty clear in the portal, once you click something that would start using credits, before you activate that, it will tell you this will consume credits. All right, anything else before we move on to customer agent?
If you're turning on the enrichment data, when does that kick in? How often do the credits be used?
Yeah, good question. So I realize not everybody might be able to hear the question. So the question was around enrichment data. How does that use credit? Does that use credits? A change that we rolled out in September at last year's Inbound. Basic enrichment no longer leverages HubSpot credits. That's a free feature that you can use at no additional cost. There are some advanced enrichment that does use credits, and that starts consuming credits as you turn that on, and then you can always toggle that off if you decide to as well. Awesome.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Is there a native tool to forecast how many credits you may need? So if I wanted
That's
to
a great question.
and start a customer agent, would I have to download to get to see how many conversations I'm having, or is there any
Yeah, so the question was around, is there a way to sort of forecast how many credits that you could potentially use within the system? There are some ways that you can do that. We have some tools internally that we can help you understand sort of how many credits you might be using. So if you have a CSM or somebody that you can work with to talk to, I think they would be the best person to help you with that. The other thing to keep in mind or remember is the credits, your initial allotment of credits, you won't automatically go over and be charged for more. It would just sort of stop that utilization at that point. So you can sort of see throughout the month how many you're using. I think you can also allocate credits to different agents and things like that. So you can say, you know, customer agent can only use 2,000 credits a month or something like that. So a couple of the ways that you can control for that there.
I think in our experience too, like you use fewer credits than you think you're going to.
Yeah.
Okay, because I know our marketing contacts, they get ahead of us sometimes.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, that's the key difference between credits and one of the many differences between credits and marketing contacts is you won't automatically get charged for like the next tier of credits. The usage would just stop unless you decide you want to then add more. Yeah. All right. I think we're ready to get into customer agent. Yeah. We have one more question.
Will they add the ability to like reload your credits so that it will auto charge you?
That's an option.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I can speak to this. Yeah, so we're trying to make it more flexible, trying to learn from marketing contacts and some of the nuances there. So there are options. One of them, the big one that you're going to see is to pause, but there is an option for either one, you can buy them in packs so that you could get a discount with that and kind of estimate, like we said with the calculators and things like that, to try to forecast it. Or we have what we call overages. So if you want to go over, you don't want to be disruptive, this customer agent is a huge part of your business, you can set it up to say we are okay with paying overages. You pay it 1 month and then you go back down. Whereas marketing contacts, you are locked into that higher tier. It's not that way with credits. You have a little bit more flexibility. So that's a common method that we see for people that don't want to go dark at all. Okay, good. Any other questions on credits before we move on to CN and agents?
You made us like credits better than marketing contacts.
Yes, that's the goal. And hopefully, yeah, marketing contacts will get there is the goal. To make it a little bit easier, more predictable billing. That's what we all need. Okay, we're gonna get into customer agent so that you guys get a feel for seeing one of these AI agents live. So we're gonna go through just one or two or a quick few more slides, and then we're gonna jump into the actual platform so that you guys can see some of these features, see how easy it is to set up, and get a little bit of a feel for it in the HubSpot platform. So first up, what is Customer Agent? It is your 24/7 AI concierge. If you were with us in Inbound, you saw us launch this. We did originally launch it as a 24/7 support, and now we have expanded it to these 3 use cases we're seeing here. So we have marketing, sales, and service. From a marketing standpoint, you are able to engage website visitors. You have personalized responses that take you to relevant marketing content. If anyone is following along in the AEO journey, you know that content is king right now. So this is a really popular one that's taken over. Prospecting, we also have, you can do lead qualification by instantly answering questions. You can book meetings. You can route based on how qualified the leads are. And then lastly, we have the support use case. So you can instantly answer questions across all different channels and help reduce your team workload. Just elaborating on these use cases a little bit more, from a sales team perspective, the way that you can kind of envision one of the most popular use cases we have is lead qualification. So think about it, if somebody were to land on your website at 8 p.m. at night, you don't have any BDRs or SDRs working, they're able to answer questions in real time before that lead jumps to go to a competitor. They can automatically schedule with a demo if it's qualified, or you can put them as semi-qualified. They can go into another nurture campaign or just notify the sales rep. So lots of different options there for just being able to qualify leads in your pre-sales motions. Another popular use case is the support team. So being able to address all of those manual, mundane questions. So things of like somebody reaching out at 2 a.m. saying they're locked out of their account, they need a password reset. This no longer has to be those scripted answers. Your customer agent can fully handle this start to finish. And as you'll see, we have some customization for a really smooth transfer to humans. So if something needs to be escalated or it is a complex case, we can easily make sure that it gets routed to the human agent when they're back online, or for a live agent if they are available. A few tips and tricks that we've learned along the way. If there's one thing you get out of this, it is that this is a very low risk and quick time to value. I think a lot of people find these tools and AI to be very daunting to where to get started. And I think HubSpot may have heard us today, because as of today, they introduced that the first 28 days of using Customer Agent are free, does not consume credits, so you can be in a little bit more of a testing period as you get started. We do have the testing and preview capabilities, but being able to fully test without credits is a huge advantage that we just launched today. So highly recommend trying it out. Before this, I did recommend always going to just a low traffic page, so something like a privacy policy URL or something like that, so you can test it without exposing it broadly. But this new update to be able to have a month trial has been really cool. And like we mentioned, lots of different levers to make sure that you have control over your consumption. Point two, you do have the option to connect this with your CRM context. So if you want to be able to either personalize, so use things like first name or last name, or what kind of customer or contact they are, as well as update your CRM with the info that you're getting back. Tons of controls to be able to control that info and make sure that it ties directly to your CRM data. We have multi-channel options. These are growing every single day with the ability to deploy with email, chat, voice, custom channels via API. We just launched WhatsApp and more to come. And your customer agent can also be placed on websites or with an application. We have improvement loops, which is another thing that I commonly hear from customers, is that they don't think that they have enough info to fuel the customer agent. But the beauty of this is if you just get started and try it, we will identify those knowledge gaps and where we're seeing some questions not get addressed properly, and help to make sure that we're reporting on that really quickly so that you can create short answers or add different sources to make it easy to improve it over time. And as HubSpot usually says, anything with AI, if you thought it was not the best quality a week ago, check again in 2 weeks. And it's probably a rapidly different product. So that's kind of always how I'd frame this as well. If your agent is not perfect when you first launch, that is okay. Just keep trying, and that improvement loop makes all the difference. And last little note, there is no way to delete. So we're gonna go through this today. It's gonna be in draft mode. It's in draft mode until you hit that publish button, so don't worry. But just in case you're like, now I cannot get out of this, that's why. So if you no longer wanna use your agent, or if you do wanna change it, you can simply disconnect it from any existing channels. All right. Let's see if this mic. Apologies all. All right, just give us a minute if you need a drink, food. While we get the demo set up, we want to be able to show you guys what this looks like in the actual HubSpot platform. So we'll work on mirroring this over so that you guys can see it live.
Yeah, it's a time for you to do your stand-up.
I did not. I'm not that funny.
Oh, too bad.
So.
Yeah.
That was funny.
There was a setting on this to make it not because the problem was like that's where you should start. Yeah, we can see the tabs across the top. But yeah, you see like the tabs is here. And it's in here. Very comfortable, which I feel like I never would have felt actually maybe go back to yeah, it is done. Super soft.
That's a great idea. I'm not demoing.
/ stand-up comedian.
Hello. Can you guys still hear me okay? I'm sitting while I'm doing this live. Okay. I really do feel like I'm in a piano music side of me that could never take off. Really, but I know, so yeah, this is riveting. Okay. All right, y'all. Okay, so we are going to jump around in a couple demo portals. I'm going to show you a couple high-level overview of how to play around and get familiar with some of these tools. Then we're going to launch into how to actually develop your agent in 2 quick steps. And if you get lost along the way, we do have a self-guided demo that we're going to send out afterwards that makes it really easy to follow. So if you already had too many glasses of wine, it's okay. We will help you remember after this. So starting where I'm at right now, if you haven't seen this little icon down here, this is Breeze. Again, Breeze is just our name for our AI tools that are embedded throughout the platform. So I'm in the overview page. This is going to show us just some quick training videos as well as different ways to navigate what's live in Breeze. It's always changing, so I always recommend coming here just to see what's new. You also do have a view into a dashboard if you want to see how you're using AI throughout HubSpot. So you could look at how you're using your agents, your Breeze features, or your assistants. So this is a great tab to just kind of keep an eye out. As we mentioned about credits, these are in the account and billing section. We do have a call out for it here to make it really easy to find. But if you navigate to this section here that Melissa was in earlier, you'll be able to see your usage as well as those use cases that do require credits. So you're going to see this little credit symbol throughout the platform, but this is also a great place to see what's consuming credits, when, how much, things like that. You'll have your full usage log here. I'd really think about it as just anything that's a more advanced agent or advanced AI tools typically consume credits, the rest don't. So great place to just manage this from a high level. If you ever want to add credits, this is also where you would go. One other call out I'll mention before we get into customer agent product updates. If you don't spend a lot of time in this section, you should start. If you click on this up here and go to product updates, or maybe I'm just biased, I really find this section fun, but this is where all the product updates live. You can subscribe, as you see. You can get monthly or weekly updates that come out every Monday, so you can know what's new. So everything I showed today as customer agent is being built and developed really quickly. There might be some features that are in beta, so you're welcome to opt in directly in this section here. Just search for customer agent. You can always use the app or the different product filters, and if you see in beta, the sections here, you can join really easily and even give our product team feedback. So highly recommend doing this. If there's anything, like I mentioned, you see today that you want to check out, just go to that section here. Alrighty, now let me jump into customer agent. We go to what? Okay. So if you are in your portal and you've never set up customer agent before, you're going to go to the service icon and then customer agent. This is for any professional subscription, so you don't have to have Service Hub in order to launch this. You just have to have Pro and Up. And this is the page that you'll see. So you'll get a nice little tour. It has a demo video as well as some quick tips of kind of what it does and how to set it up. If you go to set up your agent from here, you're going to see the 2 quick questions to get started. So you can go ahead and name your agent, give it a personality, and then fuel it with some content. All of this can be changed later, so don't get too caught up in this, but that's as much as you need to do to launch your agent. I'm going to go into my demo portal where I have a little bit more settings and walk you through some of the options and capabilities here, since I know that we have people coming from all different experience levels with this. So I want to make sure we touch on also what's new, and you can see some of this different functionality live. So first up, if we're seeing the settings here, we're looking at the agent's identity. This is where you can kind of customize. You can include your brand name, change the name, and use your different brand voice or themes. Highly recommend using brand voice. If you don't already, this is under content and then brand. This section is always evolving as well. It looks like this. So if you ever want to upload kind of your different brand voice, or even just take the quick approach, which is putting in your website, HubSpot will do the rest to identify your brand identity. You can do that, and you can also optimize for the channel. So if you want to have a different voice on your blog versus your website versus your agent, you can do that. You can put in all kinds of different brand data sources and things like that. So if you do end up doing brand voice, just know that that's always going to update based on what you have in that section there. Expression is going to be some quick answers to how your agent is communicating, so you can put more in about your tone, response styles, scripted responses, guardrails, things like that. HubSpot does have templates in here along the way, so if you're trying to think about what this might entail, you can always look at our examples. Start with this as a starting point, and then even use anything that has this little diamond peak icon. That's going to be Breeze. It's pulling in things like our Breeze Assistant, just make it easier to use, so you can go ahead and press Optimize. It's going to help me rewrite it. So if I want to just give it gibberish of what I think my tone wants to sound like, and then optimize it so that it sounds more professional, I can go ahead and do that and apply different kind of templates and things like that. So this is where if you have any kind of go-to responses for things, you can add those in here of like different policies, things that you want your agent to avoid, custom instructions of any kind, and more just customization on that response style. Then we have knowledge. This is where you're gonna go to feed what your agent uses to help answer questions. From a start, this is gonna pull in anything in HubSpot. So if you have your own knowledge base, your website, landing pages, blogs, files, you'll see all those options here with an option to sync them, as well as whether or not you want them to show citations in the agent. You can also upload anything that doesn't live in HubSpot. So if you want to upload a file or even your website or any form of a public URL, or just go the manual way of a question answer, you can also add content in that way. Then we have your CRM data. This is where I mentioned earlier where it's going to be able to personalize or edit the CRM. So you can add this with any property that you have here, and you would get full control over that right back. So if I do first name, for example, I can say I want to go ahead and make sure the agent references this. It has that personalization. It does have a data protection level, so you can either say if somebody gives their email or verify it before you go ahead and give this, as email is our unique identifier here. And then you can also set it for if you want to be able to edit it. So if a contact responds back with a different answer, if we want to make updates to the record, you can also turn this on. And as you can see, it's all controlled on the property level. Keep in mind that this section here, Add CRM Data, is going to power agent goals as of now. So just something to keep in mind as you think about these goals. So right now we have two big use cases: resolving issues, so more from a support standpoint, and then generating leads, so that lead qualification. Resolving issues is going to pull into an API source, so things of like, what's my order status, things like that that might touch into a different database. If we were to go into add action, we're going to tell the agent what to look for when someone asks for that, and then tell them how to get it. So usually just put in your API key here, if that is something you have access to, and then you can go ahead and set up different actions versus just having your agent respond to things. Lead qualification, probably one of the most popular features right now and very much growing quickly. If you want people to be able to reach out and qualify these leads automatically, you can pull in your different properties or criteria here. So for example, if they're based in a certain state, if their annual revenue is a certain amount, if they're in a certain industry, B2B, B2C, things like that, you can set up all different criteria that the agent can qualify and then set different actions based on that. So I can say if this is qualified, they're a perfect fit for us, let's go ahead and book a meeting. We'll send them to the sales rep. Versus partially qualified, let's go through a lead nurture. I can set them as a lead for my team, and not qualified, I can just politely say no thank you. So a lot of different options here, and like I mentioned, more to come on our roadmap when it comes to lead qualification, but this touches kind of any of your properties here to be able to qualify those up front. Channel settings is going to give us a little bit of optimization per channel. So as you connect things like email versus voice versus things like WhatsApp and stuff like that, it's just going to have some different configurations of how you want the agent to handle those conversations. Most importantly, if we're using email capture as that identifier, when do you want to ask for that, and inactivity. So when do you want this to close if we don't have a response? You can customize that per channel. And then lastly, on the setup front, we have deployment. So where does this agent go if you want it to not handle everything 24/7, but you do want it to pass off to an agent? This is where we connect those. So if you're going to connect to something like a help desk or something like that, this is where we would do that. You can connect your different channels such as WhatsApp, phone, live chat, things like that. Here, this is already connecting to the ones that you have live, if that is ones that you have live, and then again, you would have different settings per. So I could say this is going to be live chat's going to be during our working hours versus, the async handoff will be in our non-working hours. I can say who I want this to go to, very similar to the help desk or conversations inbox if you're familiar of that pass off. So idea here is that you just have a lot of options when it comes to your channels of how you want it to be assigned and how you want those conversations to be handled. Workflows and bots is pretty new. This is kind of taking your customer agent to the next level. So if you're familiar with workflows and you like to have if-then rules and things like that, that's where you would go ahead and do this. We can get really fancy with the logic of how the customer agent both engages and responds and is passed off. So the rule-based bot's going to be a quick, easy, with our calling and messenger apps, whereas a workflow will take you to the workflow builder. We do have a couple templates in here, but you can always start from scratch and get really familiar or really in the weeds of what you would like this to do. So if you're familiar with this tool, it should be pretty easy to use, and you can build different workflows based on the channel or type of customers or things like that up front. The other things I'll show in this tool, so that's kind of the setup. Once that's done, you do see the big orange test button up here. You can do that before you go into your monthly test period. And this is really great to do, especially if you're doing even smaller tweaks like trying to figure out your tone. You can go back and forth if I had multiple drafts up here to say I just want to look at the tone and how it's answering different questions based on that. You can really play around with how this is responding. You can go to the different channels, things like that before it fully goes live. And then, like I mentioned, we can catch those knowledge gaps for things that it's not able to address in real time. So here we're going to see some really quick performance. You can easily filter for the date range. You can add any of these reports to a dashboard, build out your own, but there's quite a few in here to kind of just understand how much the customer agent is really taking time off of your support reps and giving back to them, and what does that resolution rate look like. And then this is where your knowledge gaps live. So if we had any in here, if this was live and there was a question, it would tell me exactly where that conversation was, how they recommend fixing it in your way that you can put in either new sources or just write a short answer so that if somebody asks that question again in the future, it's addressed. And then all of that info populates here in the overview tab too. So this is always one that you can kind of quickly add to. You can add new content, activate a new channel, or add actions, and then your knowledge gaps and quick reporting is here. Last thing I'll show is our marketplace. So if you're not familiar with Breeze Studio, this is where all of our agents and assistants live. You can create your own. So you can create your own assistant. This guy up here, you're actually able to make your own one. So if you don't, this is our general Breeze assistant that kind of works like a ChatGPT 5. But if you want to build ones that are custom for your business, you can set those up in this Breeze Studio, as well as create your own agents, and then also access all of our marketplace. So if this customer agent today is not feeling super applicable for you just yet, and you want to try our other agents out, there are a ton in here, and we're building on this. So definitely feel free to play around with these and check them out, or even build your own if you're feeling ambitious. But that's a little bit about our agents and how to get started. So like I mentioned, we will follow up with some resources here. So we have this self-guided demo that we'll share. It's really, really easy to use. You can send it to any of your reps if they want to kind of click through. We have some quick trainings, knowledge bases in here. And then back to what Melissa said about Breeze, we have this broken out by marketing, sales, service, and so forth for resources for each team. Just quick trainings as well as case studies and things like that. And then you'll find at our end the email and our meetings link in case you guys want to learn more or have any other questions. Thank you so much.
All right, what questions do we have for Melissa or Kathryn? In the back?
I have 2 questions.
Take the money.
Number 1, so you said pro levels get 3,000 credits. Does that include sales pro seats?
Yeah. As long as if your tier would be pro then. So it's your highest tier. So
Are you sure? Because we have 1,000 credits and we have sales stuff pro. Do you know what 1,000 would be indicative of?
No, but honestly,
That's there could be a couple of different reasons for that. It's probably pretty specific to your portal.
Okay.
It should be 3,000 credits for Sales Hub Pro, but like I said, there are some edge cases. if you've been with HubSpot for a long time or something like that, there's some reasons that you might not. If you want to just come up afterwards and share your portal name and things like that, we might be able to look at it live, or we can get back to you with some more reasons about that.
Okay, cool. Just checking, because I know
Yeah.
Sales Hub Pros, it's kind of different, it's like seat-based.
Yeah.
It's Kathryn, she's holding out on you.
It is just to the credits are not per individual user; it's for the whole account as well. But yeah, we can take a look.
Okay, and then second question, so we're partners, and so we manage hubs for a lot of our clients, and I was curious, like, am I able to go set up a customer agent for a client and then they'll have access to it, or would I have to coach them through adding it through their own login?
Yeah. Are you on a partner seat?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then yeah. You should
And
be
they
able to.
have access, so like theoretically, inside of one account, everybody could have access to all of the agents, even if you didn't set that agent up.
Yeah, I mean, it's still controlled by permissions and all that, the AI settings, like, so if somebody doesn't have access, they wouldn't be able to see it, but they would just see that gated as typically. But otherwise, that would be no issue. You'd be able to set it up on their behalf, and they'd be able to see it, report on it, all that.
Okay, do you know if they'll ever change that with sequences? Sorry, I'm getting off this topic.
The sequences.
Can you clarify your question?
Yeah.
So within sequences, like for somebody to trigger a sequence, they have to be the owner of it. Do you know if they'll ever change that?
That's a tough one because on enterprise you can enroll based on behalf of others.
Oh, really?
So it's an enterprise, yeah. It's like there's a few of those nuances where. I mean, we have heard that feedback before, so I'm happy to also look at the roadmap after if you want to just, we can take a peek. But yeah, that is usually enterprise, is that you'd be able to enroll on behalf of
Okay, good
others.
to know. I didn't actually know that was.
For the credits thing, we ring the same thing. So we actually ended up buying 1,000 credits because we've been with HubSpot for so long. Like we haven't moved to the seat model, which they didn't really like move. Agencies weren't prioritized in that. So we ended up like going and buying credits so that we had them for our agents. I bet that's what happened.
Yeah, we've been on for a while, so
Yeah.
that's probably what it is. Thank you.
Yeah.
Does the customer agent consume credits in a matter of like how complex you make it, how complex you kind of draft it to pull more context, understand different customer types, understand kind of really unique problems?
The customer agent credit consumption is by conversation. So it's a really good question. Things can be as complex as you can make it in customer agent. And as long as it's all handled within one conversation, each individual conversation is 100 credits.
Yeah, that's where we're seeing some of the, if we go back to the customer agent, why there is a little bit of a warning there, because the idea there of why it's not fully solving the question versus just a conversation is because we are writing back to the CRM and you are still kind of able to collect that info, is our thought process. But with these, where we went to the channel settings and where it goes inactive, that's where this automatically close. This might change how you're billed. So I just would recommend probably not doing like an inactive after 5 minutes versus, probably keeping it up a little bit longer since it is per conversation.
Okay.
But
So-
there is a couple of, sorry.
So I can assume essentially like if I need the customer agent to send emails based on basic questions from customers, I can expect essentially 10 cents per email to send if I were to budget it now.
Yeah. But it goes up in packs, kind of like marketing contacts that way.
Sure.
So yeah, that's where like the calculators kind of estimating can be pretty helpful because your price, as you scale, the price comes down per credits. And we can send those pricing tiers too, so it's clear. I think they're looking to make those calculators more. Right now, they're internal only, so we work with our customers on that, but we have heard this feedback. The budget feels a little bit unpredictable at times, so we're more than happy to really help kind of predict those costs for you and, just show you those tiers. Good questions.
Other questions?
Or anything HubSpot related? Doesn't have to be Breeze.
Yeah.
We are intrigued by the adding an agent to our website. We have two. Would we be able to do that without an API?
One of the existing agents you'd be able to add to your website without an API. It's just depending on the functionality and the features that you then add in or have it be doing, or like things that you have it handle. That's where you may need to leverage some of those APIs, but you can deploy it without having that as a start.
And it shows up on the webpage.
Yes, yeah. Any other questions? We're gonna hang out for a little bit too, so if you have individual questions, we're happy to answer those. But anything else?
I was just curious, and I can do separately this, about the data agent. Like, what are use cases for that? Because I'm dealing with a really messy CRM, so
Aren't we all?
Yeah, so.
it's a disaster. I've done some, but like, if there's something I can automate, or if there's examples, I'd love to.
Yeah,
know
the
that.
question, and Kathryn, if you want to take this on, I'm happy to have you start with that. But the question was about data agent handling a very messy CRM, which I'm sure nobody else can relate to
No.
in this room, having messy data.
Yeah, data agent can do a lot. So one, it can connect to systems that don't live in HubSpot. So you'll see quite a few that you can be able to access. I kind of like to think of it like a spreadsheet kind of way of accessing the data. So if you pull in something like a Monday.com or a different platform, you'd be able to either read that data or even write it back to HubSpot. So that's one big use case, that people automate some of that data transfer. You'll also see some things like smart properties. This is creating properties out of your unstructured data. So if you think about kind of like summarizing a call and wanting to put that in a property of like, tell me your qualitative analysis on where this lead stands, something like that, you can get really specific with it. But this is a very common problem majority of our customers are facing. So if this is something you want to focus on, our solutions team is able to help with this for complimentary to kind of help you think about your data. And because we really are bullish that context is what is fueling your AI systems and these assistants. And so that's why we're really pushing this initiative to kind of help our customers get your data to talk to one another and get that all talking the same place, because our assistant can't be helpful if we don't have the data and the context. So definitely let us know if that's a priority for you, and there's a high chance you can work with a solutions architect on learning some of these use cases and making this work for your business model.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. All right, pass it back to Dustin.
Awesome. All right, so also want to make sure that everyone is aware of our upcoming events. So we do have 2 additional hugs that are already planned. Brittany Altman, actually, if you want to raise your hand, she is our next presenter. We're going to be talking about Commerce Hub. So that's on April 22nd. All of this is ready to be registered for, so you can go do that right now. It's just denverhug.com. I'm not sure how many people are aware, but HubSpot, this week, changed the platform for registering for hugs. So, it's a different experience. They're working through the kinks. But it is all up there, denverhug.com. The next one is going to be on June 3rd, and we'll be announcing additional events after June 3rd as well. So also come chat with me if there's anything that you're like, hey, I'd love to see a hug about this topic, or this has been burning or really on my mind. Would love to hear that, get that feedback so we can get those next events scheduled. Any other questions about the hug for Kathryn or Melissa? Anything like that?
Is there a community page or anything that with people within the hug?
Yeah, so actually on here, eventually they're working on it.
Okay, that's
getting
fine.
all of you in here, so you'll be part of the community. There is also a LinkedIn group. If you're not part of that, please join that LinkedIn group. Just search Denver HubSpot User Group. We have 500 and some people in there. Share in there, ask questions in there, comment in. Really trying to build the community there, so please check that out as well.
Slack groups by chance? I know.
I have had the request. I have had the request. It could be coming.
Yeah.
What's the request?
A Slack group.
Oh, well, yeah, because we all need more of those. Yeah. I agree.
I should add, I'm actually here on behalf of HiveRight, who are the guys who power
This is the new
site.
platform.
Yeah.
So if anyone has any feedback, questions, what's in the roadmap kind of vision, I'd love to hear it. We want to make sure that it works for all of you and that you're able to easily log in, register, find other users. So
There are some really cool features in there. You can start conversations, you can chat in there, you can comment, you can tag people, some additional functionality there. So go check it out. Let me know if you do have feedback. I can get that over to the HiveBright team. We like the Hive thing, apparently. Yeah, so hope to see you all back here April 22nd, June 3rd. Look out for more event announcements. Please also eat, drink, get your keychains, all of that stuff. Network. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.